Hello. Hi, all of my brothers and sisters out there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Rochelle and welcome to my channel, Awaken the Collective. So today I wanted to dive deep into my very first ayahuasca experience. I did this just a couple weeks back, beautiful spot down in Arizona for 3 nights consecutively. This has been a huge thing for me personally. It's been something that I've been seeking and desiring to experience for about a decade. It's been a huge bucket list item for me, so I am beyond grateful to have been able to sit with the medicine and get to experience that for myself instead of reading everyone else's experiences or hearing about them for so long. So I wanted to share this today, not only because it was significant for me, but most importantly because I feel like it's significant to others and to share this with others. It's important to get the message out there about different plant medicines and what they can contribute to your own path, your own healing, and your own awakening. So let's get into it. So for those of you who aren't familiar with ayahuasca, I'm just going to really briefly cover it. You're welcome to, of course, to do your own research and find out a lot more about it. But basically, it's a vine. It grows in the Peruvian forest. It's been used in ancient medicine for a long time. It's just now, well, for the last few decades, really working its way into the Western culture for healing and for medicine and being recognized and being given the respect it deserves. So it is a vine brewed with another leaf. I literally cannot remember the name of the leaf right now, but that mixture combined when brewed creates the chemical dimethyltryptamine, and that is what is giving you that transcendental experience when consumed. So I believe I said this earlier, but I sat for 3 nights. Now, another thing about ayahuasca to point out is people refer to ayahuasca as the mother, the grandmother, the madre. I met one gentleman there that I sat with her for 27 times, and he calls her the mamacita, which was probably my favorite one. But that is in reference to the very feminine energy that ayahuasca brings. Now, I've dove into plant medicine. Psilocybin has been my medicine for 11 years, but really using it as a tool in the last couple years. And that is what I've been bringing into people's lives. Now, what was really cool about ayahuasca is in psilocybin, if you're familiar, is, you know, there's a spirit of psilocybin. It's not necessarily masculine nor feminine. It's just a presence. And I really loved the difference with ayahuasca being such the mother, like meeting her and having that experience with that energy. It was very special, super sacred, and I'm excited to tell you about that. So I'm going to give you just kind of like what my experience was. For me, it was exactly what I needed and what I had came for, and so I am very grateful for that, because you don't really get what you want, but you get what you need. But my intentions were met, and so yeah, that was really special for me. So my first night of doing ayahuasca, now let me pretense this with, you don't go there to just have a trip and check it out in curiosity. This is a very intentional medicine. You go there with like everyone was there for some sort of deep healing, whether they had to release something, grieve something, whether it was for physical healing, mental, emotional healing, spiritual awakening and healing. You know, you're there for a purpose. And and it can be quite an experience. It's not all just fun and easy. It's a very intensive experience. Everyone's is different, so I can't speak for everybody, but as you'll learn and hear more about ayahuasca, they'll talk about the purge, and that is you can purge in all sorts of ways. My purging, of course, was through throwing up, and it can be intense, and it's necessary. Though it helps you bring up all of the residual energetic blockages that you have, along with physical toxins toxins and whatnot that you need to get out of your body. So that was in my experience. My first night was centered around that. And it was funny because my first night I get into the visual aspect of ayahuasca initially, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, like, what are you guys doing here? Because it felt very much like psilocybin at first, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Like, okay, so I'm here for healing. Can you go get me the mother, like, or give her some messages for me? Like, I'm here to do some work. And so I found that really interesting at first, and was kind of like, am I even gonna get where I want to go? Now I should go back really quick. I've realized that I didn't even go over my intentions of what I set for myself. So my first intention was to really understand my patterns, my blockages, like how to navigate through really accessing a higher space within myself, and how to cultivate deeper self-acceptance, self-love, and self-satisfaction. And as I talk about this, I'm going to be referencing my notebook because I wrote all this down, and that will help keep me you know, in alignment with what I want to say. So I wanted to really learn how to embrace myself better and give myself permission to care for me the way that I need to. Self-acceptance and self-love has been a really difficult thing on this path for me, especially when pertaining to my physical body. I've had a lot of negative self-talk, I've had a lot of negative self-treatment, and I've transcended a lot of that, but I still have blocks. And so it's like, how can I get up and over those walls? So that was my number one. My number two was how to properly navigate being a mother to my son, Trevor, especially over these next few years. He's in high school, and how can I show up better for him? How can I show up better for our relationship? Knowing that, especially in these times, it's really weird socially. He's kind of by himself a lot, and so how can I contribute to him better? My third intention was for physical healing in my neck, especially. I had a car accident 8 years ago, and it's been hard for me. Now I've got a lot better in the last year, especially thank God for a certain person that's been doing a lot of work with my neck, but also I've got my self-care down pretty well with that, but I still have residual pain, so I was hoping for some help with that. So those are my three things. Okay, so coming back to my first night of ayahuasca, like I said, I didn't really access anything beyond what I had already been, I felt like, familiar with before. I loved seeing a familiar energy field. It was very welcoming and comfortable for me, so it made it easy to go into the second night with letting go of any fears, or not that I really had much anyways, but you know, it made it easy. But I was ready to connect deeper, and was excited to look at the unique properties it did have to offer that I knew were there, that I wasn't introduced to the first night. The first night I did have some insights come through, and the first one was with Trevor. It was actually, Trevor was addressed the first night, which I was really grateful for, because that was of course one of my intentions. And something we've been doing recently is I give him books to read. You know, this year he's been doing really well, but there's been some, like, he's been a little bit down, especially not being able to be as social as he wants and whatnot. So I've been giving him books to read, like about, you know, mental health and wellness and happiness, and just trying to keep him up on that. And so, you know, he reads a little bit intermittently, but I haven't been able to get him to read as much as I hope he would read, and that I would want him to take in. And so, you know, it's like that whole, you can lead them to water, you can't make them drink. And I feel like it's been like that. Well, I was told to take time with Trevor, and it was really simple, but kind of like come back to how they are as a child, and, you know, hold them, cuddle them, that we weren't doing enough physical touch anymore, that we weren't cuddling as much anymore, and that's something that's really important to him. And to integrate that physical touch more, still come back to cuddling, and while we're in that space, to read the books that I want him to ingest, because even if I've read them before, it gives me an opportunity to re-go over them, which is important always, to redigest anything that you read. You know, repetition is the mother of skills, is what they say. The more you read something, the more you actually take in. And so selfishly it helps me, selflessly it helps him, but to read the books I want him to read while hold him, and I was told that that will help nourish his heart and his emotions and mental wellness. And so that seems like such a simple integration, and it really is. And but that was, as soon as I heard that, it was like, oh my God, of course, that's amazing, that's the answer. And I did share this whole experience with him, and when I told him that, it was really cute because his answer to me was, oh, that's really interesting. You know, actually a couple weeks ago, I had realized, I had had the thought that we don't cuddle as much anymore, and I really missed it. And he goes, so that seems about right. So we have been doing that, and it's been something that we are enjoying. So I want to give this to just anyone that's a parent, whether you're into this video or not. If there's one takeaway, especially right now, your kids, even if they're 14, 15, 16, whatever, hold them, love them, and start nourishing their mind. I feel like that advice could be given to any parent right now. We have a lot more time at home, most of us. I know I do. And so definitely, yeah, that was one of my favorite things, because it's just so simple and easy to integrate. I was also told that I was safe and I could let go and open my heart, that my heart isn't as open as I like to think it is. And that was interesting to me, because I do think my heart is open, but I do notice that I can open it, close it, open it and close it. But it was telling me that I'm safe and that I can leave it open. And in order to receive, it has to be open. So yeah. The other one was that joy is on the other side of an open heart. Now, what was interesting to me about that, and it gets into joy later the next night, is joy has been something that I've been kind of asking my own self. I didn't go into this experience of ayahuasca asking anything about joy, but it's been something I've been thinking about a lot in my life. Is like, okay, so I have happiness mostly, like I can access that with gratitude really easily. I have seen things through a positive filter and my life through a positive filter easily, like, but where does joy come in? The consistent experience of joy, that level, how do you attain that and how do you maintain that? And so that's been a question I've been asking myself a lot. So when joy was brought up, I was like, oh, let's get into that more. Thank you. I appreciate that, because that's been something I've been wanting to know more about. So I'll tell you what I'm told the next day. And there was also this, I wish I could remember more. It's so hard to kind of remember every single thought that you have. And I wasn't able to journal until the next day because of the situation. But me to we. So I was shown this, like the word me, and it was like, look, you take the word me and you take that M and you flip it and you make it we. You have to transcend the me, the ego, and make it we. It's all about that. And I was like, oh, I freaking love that. Like, I'm all about we, but like, I love that. And I had never seen the we in me. I don't know what that was, but I loved it. So anyways, that was my first night. It was pretty simple. The Trevor thing really just, I appreciated that, but that was about what I had got from it. And so the second night was really where I got into it. So both nights, as soon as I had consumed the medicine, I had purged. And the second night, I went into a really intensive purge, to the point to where I'm sitting there like, you know what? F this. This is not my medicine. Psilocybin's my medicine. I'm probably never doing this again. Like, I don't know why I thought this was a good idea. This is, why did I think for 10 years I'd want to do this? I mean, it's really intense on your body. And I remember this girl that I met the first night. She was my sister. Like, I adore her forever. And she was sitting right next to me, and she said, look, girl, this was like her 17th time sitting with the mother. She said, look, girl, she goes, at first you're going to be like, why the hell did I do this? And then on the other end of it, you're going to be like, I'm so grateful I did. She's like, so if you have to remember that at any point, remember that. So as I'm going through this thought process of like, I don't want to do this, this is really stupid, I remembered what she said, and I was like, okay, let me just trust this. So as I'm going through that kind of like intensive feelings, those intense physical feelings and purging, I went and laid down, and the facilitators there, which were the most beautiful humans, they were absolutely incredible. They had said in the very beginning, like, hey, if you find yourself getting a little too lost and whatever, put your hand over your heart and breathe in love. And that is definitely when I had to do that. So I laid down and I just kept breathing in love and exhaling any negativity, any fears, any worries, any blockages, breathing in love. And I did that over and over again. And all of a sudden, it like this darkness cleared, and there was this beautiful light that came through, and it was like full of yellows and these golden patterns and little yellow butterflies and little pink flowers. And immediately I was met with the knowing that that was the mother's presence. And I was like, oh, my body felt better and my mental, everything felt better. And I just, what was really odd about this for me was how familiar everything was. Like, as soon as it cleared and I saw everything, even though I'm seeing it through my mind's eye, I'm like, how do I know what this is already? Like, why is it so familiar to me? Why are these patterns, these visuals, it was so familiar, but it was so beautiful. Immediately as it opened up and this light came through, I was just like, oh, hello, mother, hello, thank you. And it's nice to meet you. And the first word that came to mind was soft. She was so soft, comfortable, comforting, compassionate, loving. It was finally that point of divinity that I was seeking. In the beginning, I was kind of like, this doesn't feel like I'm accessing, like light and God essence or anything like that. And so I was kind of getting put off by that, because I only like I only invite things into my life that make me feel as though I'm reaching those points, of goodness. And so I finally reached that point with her, and it was gorgeous. I wish I could draw it for you. I really would. It's my dream one day to hopefully recreate it somehow. But anyways, immediately she's like, look, girl, like, and I'm going to talk in a way, like, of course I don't hear a voice. It's really just information being given to you. But I'm going to speak for her the way I would speak to myself, I guess, or to someone else. But basically she was like, look, girl, like, first of all, with your body, with your energetic physical body, anything like that, like, you can decorate that the way that you choose. Like, this is divine design. You are the architect of your own field. So if you don't like something, you simply take it out. She's like, how you love decorating your home, how you love decorating your physical environment, your bedroom, like decor. So being aesthetically pleasing is so important to you. Like, take those concepts and apply it into your own self. So she's like, you don't like shame? Cool. Take it out. You don't like negative self-talk? Cool. Take it out. What are you going to replace that with? Let's replace shame with acceptance. Let's replace negative self-talk with pride, like enjoy. And so it's like, I'm then a witness to, let's say, my physical, energetic kind of body put right in front of me, and she's like, you need to start practicing this, but let's go over it right now. Like, she's teaching me how to do it, and she's like, let's make it pretty to you. Take out the things you don't like, put in the things you do like. And so we did that together, and it was really cool, because I had just heard this concept somewhat recently about, like, in psychotherapy, doing that with your mind. Like, if you don't like something, take it out, put something else back in. And I love decorating. Like, I love. I just moved right now. I'm decorating my home right now. It's something I really appreciate doing. So that was the perfect kind of thought process for me to be introduced to that concept. And it's been really good for me as I've come home. If I've noticed certain things that I'm doing, I lay down at night and I envision, like, my body in front of me, and they're like, I don't like that, let's take it out. What do I want to put? I want to put that. Perfect. Looks so good. More aesthetically pleasing. So she's like, you are the architect of your own energy field. So that was awesome. So then after that point, she made a hard cut, a hard separation between my physical body and my non-physical body, my spirit, my consciousness. And she was like, look, I know that you know all about that. I know that you know that you're not your body, but you're way too connected to it. Like, you need to make a hard cut. And what your body is another entity. And so, it's like you treat everybody else really, really well, and the one person that you don't treat well more than anyone is yourself, which your body and whatnot. And she's like, so let's make a hard cut. Like, your body is another entity. You need to treat her just as kindly as you treat other people. You need to respect her, love her, understand that she chose you and you chose her, and be appreciative of that connection, and that understand that you are co-creating in this life. And she already loves you, so you need to love her back. And that was really cool, because then I like saw my body as like, it's not me anymore, you know? And she told me to start referencing my physical body as a her or she. So like, ask her questions like, hey, does she, you know, do you want this? Oh, she doesn't want this, or she does want this. What that allows me to do now is, if, you know, I'm saying I'm hungry, well, is she really hungry? You know, like, does she really need this? Does she really want this? And it's been really cool for me so far to use that and to look at it that way. And she took me through this like little, I guess, visual of me being in certain situations that I would normally feel shame in, like if I would overeat or eat things that aren't in alignment with my values, and her and I kind of being a team together, doing like taking pride and being proud of being like, oh no, we don't do that, and taking pride and being happy about honoring her, you know, and me at the same time. So that was awesome. And I call my cat, she has a one of those big towers, and I call it her queendom. And the mother was like, look girl, like, this is your queendom, like, you treat it like one, like, you know. I was like, oh, I love it, this is my queendom, hell yeah. So so it's cool. So it's like me and my best friend now. It's me and my body. Like, this is my girl now, and we get to do this experience together. It's not just, yeah. That was really cool for me. So, so treating it fairly with integrity and being proud of it. So the next thing, coming back to the joy, is, it's so simple, but this was something so like profound for me, is happiness is something you have, and joy is something you give. Happiness is inside, joy is outside. Happiness is something you have, joy is something you share, you give. It's something that you get to experience with others. That's where joy is. Joy is an experience with other people. It's a contribution. And transcending that me to we. You can have happiness, but do you share it enough? Do you include other people in it? Like, and so transcending the me to we, and that's how you open your heart and really experience the benefits of joy. That was huge for me. You know, because I laugh with, you know, the people that make me laugh, and I just don't feel like I have enough joy. And so now I see that and I go, wow, like, I can be better at sharing that with other people. And bringing joy into the world is a gift and a contribution. That's how you really shed and share light. And in order to access that, though, you have to be okay with you, proud of yourself, be at peace with yourself, and know that you can safely share yourself with the world. So, and I have not been really like okay with sharing myself with the world, and I want to, and but I've had this block of like, oh, you know, like I want to love everybody, and I want everyone to love me. And I know that when you're really authentically yourself, it does create division between you and people that don't have the same beliefs. And even if you do it with love and the best intention, there's still that division. And so that scared me a lot. But I've just had to understand that I have to give myself permission. And this video is one of those moments of conquering that and knowing that there might be division because people don't believe in these as medicines, but it's okay, you know, and I'm not here to convince anyone. I'm just here to share my message and hope that it connects to the people it's meant to connect to, and trust that. So one little insight I found that was really funny was you take the medicine to get sick so you can heal. I was like, oh, that's so counterintuitive, but that's how it goes. So one thing that she made very clear to me was the mother of ayahuasca, like the mother is a state of being and it's an energy. It's not necessarily an entity. So this is something that you carry with you, that you bring into your life, that you come back to when you're not being in the mother, you know, state. And so that's something that I'm taking very seriously. Like, I want to carry her with me. And I've been back for 2 weeks. There have been moments where I'm not in the mother state, you know, I'm not soft. And so, but it's nice to remember that essence is with me and within me, and to come back to that. So there was a couple like integration things that she gave to me that I'm going to be implementing into my life. And one, it's so simple, but for me, I get it, why it was a thing. For one is I have this beautiful antique display that I was gonna put little butterflies in, and it's like of yellow, kind of, it already has some little flowers and little birds in it that are yellow. So she was like, look, you need to finish that display with the little yellow butterflies and little pink flowers and put that in your room to remind yourself of the mother's energy within your home. And then I need to get rose-colored glasses to remind myself of the beauty and softness to carry in my day while I'm out and about. And of course, there was the Trevor integration with the reading and holding him, and then to express deep gratitude more often to others, not just, you know, with myself to God or the universe, but to others. Yeah, and that was important to me. So, and I have been doing that as I've gotten back. One more, I'm going through my notes, so I'm just kind of going in order of what I am picking up, but there was one more incident in there that I thought was so cool. Was there was one point in the middle of all of this where I'm laying on the ground, you know, I'm cuddled up in the blanket, and we're having this experience, and I'm like, I just think in my head like, oh wow, like I am stuck in this fetal position now with ayahuasca. As far as I experienced, if you needed to get up and move, you can get up and move. But I was like stuck in the fetal position. I didn't want to move out of it. And I have this thought of like, wow, I'm like in it. And she says, well, of course you're in it. Like, why wouldn't you be? I'm the mother and you're in my womb, right? And I'm like, duh, that's awesome. Okay, yeah, you know? And she goes, you came to be reborn, right? And I was like, yeah, I did. So at that moment, it was just this overwhelming amount of appreciation, joy, felt like a cleanse. And there was this beautiful light that just exploded, and I just cried and laughed and said thank you. And it was funny because as this was happening, there's a song going on. Now, the facilitators were the most beautiful musicians I've ever been around. I called it a concert with consciousness. It was so gorgeous, and they do the music to keep the energy moving in the experiences. It's a crucial component to the ayahuasca ceremony, and they were just gorgeous people. And so as this experience is happening, the song that one of the girls is singing, she says rebirth right as I'm having this experience with the mother, and I just was like, oh, of course, the synchronicity couldn't be better. It was just really cool. As I walked out of the ceremony site that morning to go to our little cottage, I asked my partner, I was like, hey, what day is it? Because we hadn't had our phones on for a few days. He goes, oh, I think it's Sunday. I think it was Sunday. And I was like, oh, well, what day is Sunday? and I realized it's the 22nd. And for me, 22 is like my all-time favorite number through and through my whole life. It's a very special number to me. And I couldn't stop laughing and crying, because I know that on a higher level, I would have chose that for myself, to have such a profound experience to happen on 11/22. Yeah, you know, it was really cool. So thank you, thank you, thank you. That was awesome. So, anyways, that was my second night. That was my big night. So the third night, I had, I'll get back to that. Anyways, the third night I went in there, and I was like, oh, now that I know the magic of the medicine, and like, you can ask all these questions, I had a whole list of new intentions. And I got in there, I take the medicine. I don't purge for like a while. I finally purge, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. Like, I want to get into this. So I go back, take some more medicine, and I don't purge at all. And I'm like, oh, because when you're not purging, you're kind of realizing that you're not going to be going deep. And then I'm just kind of told, hey, you need to rest. Like, you've got what you came for. You need to rest. And then I had this really warm sensation, hot sensation go through my neck. And that's when it reminded me, like, oh yeah, my third intention was for asking for healing in my neck. And at that point, the third night, my neck was just messed up. It was the first night where I was like on the verge of getting a headache. I just kept praying, like, please don't give me a headache through this. And so I thought in that moment, like, oh, cool. Like, if you're doing work in my neck, that would be awesome. If you're not, whatever. And I never had anything tell me like, oh, we're working on your neck, because people do go for physical healing, but never had anything said to me. So I just rested. My experience was pretty much just what it was. And the next day I did have to drive. I had to drive. It was like a 15-hour drive back home. And as I'm, you know, constantly looking on the freeway to switch lanes, I realized, like, wow, my neck feels pretty dang good. And it definitely wasn't feeling that good the night before. So I was very, very grateful for that. And it's been a few weeks later. I have had a couple headaches. It took me a while to get rehydrated in my body. So I think the headaches were related to hydration, but my neck has felt really, really good. So I've just been saying thank you to the medicine, assuming that it did something and has helped with that. Not 100% sure, but I'm just saying thank you and choosing to believe that it did help, because right now it feels really good. So that was really cool. I looked at my list of intentions and I'm like, hell yeah, I guess we hit them all for now. So there was one other little thing that came through with the queendom statement, was that a queen is a servant to the people. Its service is inspired by the divine inside, the divine inspired purpose that you have to serve the people. So the queen is a servant to the people, inspired by the divine inside, the divine inspired purpose that you have to serve the people. That was huge for me. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to let you take that in, but that was big for me, because that, once again, is the queen isn't above anybody. The queen is there to serve everybody, and it is inspired by that divine inside that we all have. And so to really step into that power of being a queen is to step into that power of being of service and contributing to the collective, taking it from me to we, and really stepping into that power. So that was something that, like, I've been still marinating on, because I get in my way with blocks, and it's only about me. The only things that block me are my own ego, my own things, but it's not even about me anymore. And so, yeah, so I'm going to be doing better about really sharing the love, the messages, and sharing joy with others, so I can take this from being all about me to really being more about we, beyond just my regular interactions in my day-to-day life, you know, and making it more about anyone I'm connected to. So anyways, if you made it with me this far, I know it was a little bit long of a video, but thank you so much for your time and your energy and just your listening. I'm gonna put quite a few links in my video in the description of links to other documentaries and whatnot about ayahuasca. I know that, you know, it's important to look at all other accounts. I mean, this is a medicine that helps cure PTSD, depression, the physical body, and you know, mine I feel like pales in comparison to what other people's experiences can be, especially even the people I'd met there. So I just, if this is something that is pulling you, if you find more interest in, I just ask that you check more stuff out. And but anyways, even if this is all you see, I just even appreciate you being here. So thank you so much for just your connection, your love, and your time. So I love you. Thank you for sharing in this so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Cheers.